Okay guys, let's do a quick one today. What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs. Kong news roundup. Starting out with Andre Gardino's Godzilla vs. Kong piece, and this one is one that I think is really incredible. I love his stylistic takes on the MonsterVerse Godzilla's and Kong. They are both really awesome, but also still recognizably themselves. Godzilla's got that really sharp, spiky, mean look going on to him, and Kong looks like a beast, like a demon god. I love it. I think it's really cool. He released both a full version with text and some characters down at the bottom, and then a partial version. The full version calls it King Kong vs. Godzilla. Wrong movie, guy. I think it's such an incredible piece. I actually like the one with the people down at the bottom better. But there's so many great details, and I don't have time to get into them all, but like, look, I love the red lighting on Kong's leg. I love the fur that's going on here. I love the blue on his feet. I think that the whole thing looks great. Anyways, moving on. AJ Designs 0220 was a very popular artist at this point. He released quite a few pictures, including, but not limited to, his character posters. First was one for Godzilla, which is really awesome. It's just kind of a collage with all these different pictures of Godzilla inside of the face of Godzilla roaring, and it matches up with the other one he released of all these pictures of Kong inside of the Kong silhouette. Really awesome. I also like the subtle detail of in the Godzilla one you have Madison Russell, and in the Kong one you have Gia. I think it's a really cool touch. I think this is such a great piece. I either have or will talk about these again, so I'm just gonna make this quick, but Boss Logic released mock-ups for Godzilla vs. Kong, a Godzilla and a Kong poster. They are both very cool. I am very much in preference of the Kong poster, not just because I'm Team Kong, but because I think it's a much stronger poster. It looks way cooler, but I love them both. Dope Pope, we haven't talked about him in a while. He released an incredible Warbat ZBrush. It is such a detailed, highly accurate render of the Warbat. It looks incredible. I'm sure he had been working on that for a long time. I'm sure he knew what the Warbat was going to look like long before we did and was working on that for a long time. It looks incredible. I love it. It's probably the best look at the Warbat we have, to be honest. Great stuff. Odin Makes, who has a YouTube channel and an Instagram that I've got linked down below, made his own custom Kong axe. This guy makes a lot of custom battle pieces, as you can see in the background of his sets here, but his Kong axe looks great. This was made based on the trailer alone, so obviously it's not exactly screen accurate, but based on the trailers alone, he did a phenomenal job bringing this to life. It glows, it looks incredible. I love it. I think he did such a great job with this. I would love to have one. I don't know if you've noticed, but in the background of a couple of my videos, I've been using the trailer song for Godzilla vs. Kong. However, I've been using the version by Samuel Kim. Samuel Kim released a Godzilla vs. Kong trailer cover. It's like an epic cover of the trailer song for Godzilla vs. Kong, and he did a fantastic job with it. So please go check him out and show him some support because it's fantastic. I also love the way he mixes Godzilla's theme into it. Great job. I actually listen to this piece all the time when I'm driving around or when I'm working out or whatever. TV Time Tracked, Godzilla vs. Kong is the #1 film of March. It has such an awkward lineup of March releases, including the SpongeBob movie, which I didn't even know came out, but yeah, great stuff. We all love Godzilla vs. Kong. It was the #1 movie of March, so they were accurate. Shun introduced Godzilla vs. Kong for Japanese audiences in a little promo video. You can go check out the full video linked down below. I found an OG interview from Adam Wingard, which actually inspires me to go back and do a real OG episode here in a couple days. I'm excited for that one. But here's one of the original Adam Wingard interviews from back in 2017. In it, he says Godzilla vs. Kong is more of a sequel to King of the Monsters than anything else, with King of the Monsters actors returning. We already knew all that because, of course, it's got Madison and Mark. He says that the interesting part of the movie would be seeing how Kong has fared over the years. He says that Kong has been constantly under attack and things are going wrong for him. There has been a lot of human intervention on Skull Island since Kong's Skull Island, which has led to a much more rugged and aged Kong. All of that was explored in Godzilla vs. Kong. We do see an aged up Kong. We do see him. He's a little more docile. He's a little more reserved, but when he has to fight, he really goes for it. I don't exactly get the impression that he's been constantly under attack. I would have actually liked to have seen him be a bit more fit and a bit more ready to fight. But of course, Wingard wanted to go for this more rugged look, where he was a bit more worn down, where he's a bit tired from all the battles he said to be in, which is also a great take. I love that idea as well. I would have just preferred Kong to be a bit more in his prime for the fight of his life. And then obviously the human intervention, they don't actually really explore in the movie. They say it, they will tell you that there's a lot of human intervention, but unless you know the lore, you wouldn't really know that humans are the ones who caused that storm to actually invade and destroy Skull Island. They opened up a hole to the hollow earth that I guess like magnetically draws draws that storm in and holds it over Skull Island now, so they're the ones who destroyed the island in the first place. Next up, we have an interview all about Junkie XL's drum, which we talked about in a previous video. He says he got the idea because he worked with a drum maker for his Tomb Raider soundtrack in order to create a Pacific Island feel, and because Kong is a character kidnapped from the Pacific Islands, he felt that that should be Kong's feel throughout the film. He asked for an 8-foot drum originally, but the biggest cow skin that the drum maker could find was only 5 feet in diameter, which led to the 5-foot limitation. The drum was 5 foot tall, 6 feet long, and couldn't fit in his door when it was delivered, so they had to roll it into his garage, and then he had to do stuff with it from there. We don't really know how he gets it to his studio, but he does. And then of course he samples it and uses it in the soundtrack for Godzilla vs. Kong, which we have talked about. Legendary China released a promo for Godzilla vs. Kong hyping up the match called Walk with Monsters that I think is fantastic. It honestly creates a better tone for the Monsterverse than the Monsterverse has. Maybe not. Maybe these movies would not be as good if they were as serious as this promo makes them seem. But I personally love me some serious Godzilla, so you know, obviously when I see it, I love it. This promo features all the Monsterverse movies, telling the cohesive story of Monarch and the Monsterverse, making it seem very serious and gritty, and hyping up the match for Godzilla vs. Kong. It's got some incredible edits, and I think it's very worth watching. Then Warner Bros. Released some Godzilla and Kong hype reels, starting out with the Kong 2021 hype reel, and then they did a Godzilla 2021 hype reel to get each team riled up and hyped for the movie. And I gotta say, watching the Godzilla hype reel, I'm just so certain that I picked the right team. That man only uses his atomic breath. Guy is not a very good fighter. Godzilla the type of guy who'd have to bite your toes in order to win a fight. I've got a video linked for you down below. You can go check it out for yourself. It's a big set of interviews featuring the cast and crew of Godzilla vs. Kong, so definitely check it out if you want. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I am not going to be talking about in this video. In these interviews, Alexander Skarsgård said he loved playing Nathan Lind because he was not an action hero. The fact that he's a university professor and a nerd raises the stakes of the film by making him more in peril. He said that the heave scenes were all shot in Australia near a theme park where they would ride rides and roller coasters between shoots. He also said that the week of filming in the heaves was one of the most intense weeks of filming for the movie, and it made a lot of people sick being cramped in those tight quarters for so long. Isa Gonzalez says that the film was incredibly physically taxing and that there were so many exciting stunt and action sequences that she loved to film but were very hard to shoot. The interviewer also freaking loves that barf bag joke from the movie. She brings it up multiple times. Damian Bachir says that every character he has played gives him something valuable that he walks away with and that he grows from each performance. He said that Walter Simmons gave him the push to expand his knowledge of the world itself and that he got paid to do it, which was pretty cool. Wingard says that a lot of the Godzilla vs. Kong fights were inspired by WWE matches and how those fights ebb and flow. He said he wanted the fights to feel similar, where they start in one place and end in another altogether. In fact, several moves from the movie were inspired by WWE matches. He said that he wanted the movie to have some fun with itself and be self-aware, which I personally think he pulled off perfectly. And then he says that Kaylee Hoddle was one of the most prepared and professional people he worked with on set. He loved working with her and trusted her to take the character in the direction she felt fit. Then he says that the trip to the Hollow Earth was inspired in part by the original Back to the Future ride. Next up, there was a featurette revealed for Godzilla vs. Kong. This is called Collision Course. I'm surprised it was released before the movie. Of course, when the movie dropped on HBO Max, they released a couple featurettes to go with it, but I'm not really going to have to talk about those because they don't really provide a ton of new insights. In this one, the cast is all hyped up, talking about how they loved filming a movie where they had two parallel plot lines running next to each other and that they eventually intersect. This was also something Adam Wingard says was very important for him. It's basically the same exact way that they do the original King Kong vs. Godzilla as well. Those plot lines intersect much sooner, but still. Also, it's very interesting to watch this, seeing that the cast for this movie is not as even as you'd think. The main cast has 5 people voting for Kong and only 2 voting for Godzilla, while a couple remain neutral. That's quite shocking. I wonder how they felt about the ending. And then finally, Godzilla vs. Kong's tickets went on sale on March 12th for pre-order. They actually sold out of a lot of premium screens right away and went on to do very well over the next couple weeks, leading into the 31st when the movie came out. I remember every theater near me sold out completely, which was great to see. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon. They are keeping the channel running with their generous support, and please consider supporting the Patreon if you can. Through that, you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.